Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to my garage. We haven't done a garage video in a while, but I figured I'd give an update on the 2021 Beta 300RR Racing. And this is the bike right here. Let's have a look. Still running the big tank for now. Probably going to go back to the stock or maybe get a smaller IMS one. Got the seat concept seat. It's working out pretty good. I mean, no holes in it, but it does show signs of wear. So, but it's holding up, and that's what matters. I don't really care about the signs of wear. That just means I ride a lot. Highway dirt bike guards. I'm just going to trim this corner off on the highway dirt bike guards just so I don't get poked by that. I bought a new Dremel. Got that for part of the Christmas money that I received, gift cards for Home Depot. That I'll just trim that down so it's not sticking up so much. They do kind of stick up out there, you know. Maybe I'll just trim that to kind of match too, just to make it match. Doing away with the trail tech. You're gonna be like, oh my god, Mark, but the GPS mapping and all that. Well, I'm just sick of, like, I put a new mount on because the power pin, which is like that one, decided to go out, which means it drops down and it doesn't make contact with the unit. And when it doesn't make contact with the unit, it doesn't charge. Well, I put this brand new one on, out of a package, put it on, worked. I dropped the bike pretty hard, didn't mess this up, but the shock must have went through and it caused that power pin for some reason to fail. Oh, maybe it's that one right there. Anyways, it's one of them. It's hard to see when I'm like trying to record, but anyways, it's one of these pins. Pretty sure it's that one or that one. But anyways, it's not getting power again. So instead of messing with it, instead of putting on another mount, which I'm fortunate enough to have another mount, but I'm just tired of dealing with it, I'm just going to take it off because we all have phones now. So I'll put a freaking phone mount on here, and when I want to, I'll just run my old phone, and my old phone will be on here for GPS. But how often do I really need a GPS? I pretty much know where I'm going on most of the trails and trail systems, so I don't really need it. It is a benefit as far as it's pretty big for a speedometer, but again, I can do that if I'm doing this as a dual sport. Put the plate back on. I'll have a big, speed thing here, but I still have the dash down here, so I still technically have speed. And I'm typically not on the roads that far of a distance to really matter. Just go flow of the traffic around me, right? And I'm probably okay. Let's see, what else is there? Front tire's doing good. Rear tire's doing good, even though that has the old tubeless in it. I need to do a 0 PSI run for tubeless. They want me to test that out and get that on video, so I'm going to do that. And then we'll take it apart and I'll show you how bad the red liner is. But it's still working, it's still running. So I don't know, it hasn't completely blown. I haven't needed to go on any long rides. So I haven't changed it out. I do have new tubeless though for it. The IMS foot pegs are working out lovely. These are the core. They are just awesome, epic. I do need to touch up my Kydex cover here. It has dug in a few drops, and I need a new spring there, but I don't know, doesn't really matter. It would hold it up a little bit higher, but it doesn't really affect me riding. It probably vibrates though. The skid plate from P-Tech is working out great. We'll take a look at that here in a minute. We'll see how this bottom plastic piece is. I know it's getting pretty worn though, but I mean, I go through the boulder fields. That's going to happen. So we'll take this off. We'll do an oil change. And, I think the power valve is a little leaky, but for now, it's going to stay. I'm going to see if I get some parts. Maybe we'll do a top end because I do have over like 3,000 miles. I'm kind of thinking like maybe even just getting a new pipe. I don't know. Because I ran this before I had the skid plate, so it kind of got pushed, and I kind of blew it out. just put a new one on so it's seated the best, and then with the skid plates, and because I sell P-Tech skid plates, if I need to replace that every few years, I can. But I mean, I think the skid plate itself is holding up. It's the composite bottom piece. I think they do wear out over time. But, you know, that's going to happen when you go over boulders. Trying to think what else there is. Like I said, the tank's working out good. It's just, it's big. I don't really need it except for big rides. So that might be something where I just put on for those bigger rides, or get a tank in between, and then I'll still be good, but I won't be extreme. But then I need radiator braces, and then taking a look at those radiators and seeing, I mean, because they still got pushed in a little bit from the flexing of the tank. It's just what's going to happen. And see, it's pretty loose. Oh, so maybe I'll go ahead and get the P-Tech radiator guards on order, and then go ahead. Will probably buy a few sets and then sell some, but get those on, get the stock tank back on, and yeah. Well, that one's still bolted through, so that's not bad. I could probably tighten that up. Yeah, it's loose. I guess I'll tighten that up. See, after a ride, they get loose. That's the problem. Those things get bent and loose. So not a good attachment point. Really what they need to do is, which will cost extra for IMS to do, would be to make a brace that goes like across. Maybe go from here to that spot on the radiator. Kind of, you might have to get rid of that or something. Or maybe, see, if they made guards too, then they could incorporate it into one unit with the tank. And then that would probably work pretty dang good. It's like the pot rivet. The pot rivet, is that what that's called? Just it comes out of the hole. So that's, see, if I put it back there, it's not going to stay in that hole. So that one really needs to be a bolt. Just kind of little stuff like that. There's not much you can do. Of course, the big tank's not really meant to be riding in the boulder fields. It's meant to go through the desert, right? Long rides. So there is that aspect of it. I do need probably new plastics and graphics. They are getting a little peely. I need to trim those. And I think that's pretty much it. So I'm going to do an oil change. I might take a look at the shaft seal here, because I do have, supposedly I bought those, and I might take a look at that and see if I want to go ahead and mess with changing that out right now, or just wait a little closer to summer when it's warmer and line up some parts for this and just do like a major overhaul of this bike. And who knows, maybe I'll even, you know, fix it up better and rent it out. The counter shock, which still lives back here, is still nice and tight and seems to work. I love it. I love it in the rocky stuff. It really does seem to work. We'll be getting new OHV tags at, you know, sometime. I think those are good until the end of March. So yeah, that'll be coming up too. My Utah one's good until, it looks like April. January, February, March, April. Yeah, April. That's where the hole's punched. I don't know. That might cover my trip out there, because I think it goes through the end of April. I think you get the whole month of April, I think. I don't really know. But if I have to buy one, it's not that bad. Well, I went ahead and done some stuff. I took off the Voyager Pro, took off the main part of the wiring. I'm not going to remove everything and take out the power source that I just ran in a loom not that long ago. I still need to clean up the sticky sticker from the rider tracking, you know, so on the Voyager Pro, if another person has it, you can see where they're at. It's a cool feature, but unfortunately none of my friends now have that. So it's a cool feature, but unfortunately it only is good if people have it. No one I know has it. I did trim a Howie dirt bike guards like I said I was going to do. The new Dremel worked out awesome. I used a cutoff wheel, then I used a die grinding bit to kind of, if you will, deburr that. And then I used a file to go along and take off any melted plastic. Good way of doing it. I went ahead and found a bolt to add to here. Loctited everything really well. For some reason this one always comes loose, and I finally lost it because I was lazy and didn't tighten it when I knew it was loose. I re-added my old tugger strap to here on the front for now until I get new ones. In fact, I'm getting new ones. I just haven't went ahead and placed that order yet. Here's the P-Tech skid plate dropped. Now these two, this side, so the right side, these bolts were loose, but I had red Loctite them, so they were loose, but they were still in there. And so this might have been what was rattling around for a while. It looks like it must have been because it wore through the padding tape here that they have. So, oh well. I guess that's why it was rattling. I do have a buildup of dirt from the power valve tube comes down. So I will slightly clean this up some. If it was summertime, I'd go outside and wash, I would have washed everything and then washed this bottom half after I drop this, but it sucks. I'm just going to kind of scrape this out, see how clean I can get it within the garage here. Maybe I'll use a bucket or something. Let's see underneath. I haven't checked underneath. Looks like we've had a hit right there and a rock. These braces have taken hits, but they're still there. They're still stout. Whereas the Modus one, they were much thinner and they were all bent, jacked up. The plastic, how's the plastic doing? Looks like we're still attached on it. The back flappy flap for the linkage is going. So this is probably something you'd replace. In fact, I'll ask when I'm placing the order for the radiator guards, I'll go ahead and ask about just having these, if that's something you can re-add on, or what do they think, or or maybe I'll just get a different linkage protection, a billet piece, that goes on there, and then just do away with that, and then it's aluminum. Yeah, it doesn't slide as well with the aluminum, but I honestly never had problems with the gas with the Force Accessories one. And just go from there, or maybe I can plastic weld. I wonder what type of plastic it is, but I could maybe plastic weld this back for the time being, depending how clean I want to get this. I don't feel like putting that much work into it right now. So I think I'll just somewhat clean this up, see if I have anything to put there, maybe an old tube, which I think I saved a tube, so we'll go ahead and maybe cut that, and I'll just go ahead and lay a piece of tube on this section right here, this lower piece from here to here, and we'll call that good, right? And then I'll just kind of peel that one up. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I need to do the oil change. That's the most important thing, just get the oil change done. Well, I got done cleaning the P-Tech skid plate. It has taken a few dings on the bottom, but that's fine. I mean, that's what it's made to do. It kind of pushed up a little. I would say overall, though, it has held up a lot better than the Modus one. Of course, the plastic wears out because of hitting stuff, but there's not much you can do there as long as the aluminum part stays good. I think you're good to go. Obviously, at some point, you would have to do something with the plastic part here for the linkage, or get a different type of linkage protection that is billet and that bolts onto the linkage and protects it that way also. So I might actually go about that route. Even if I were to get a new bottom piece here, I would cut that off and not really use the linkage protection. Just, I know companies sell billet linkage protection, so I might go that route for that part of it and just keep this as it is, because the pipe part, man, that is perfect. No issues. Oh. So I cut an old tube and put it up there, a couple zip ties each side, and that's what I'm gonna do. I kind of scraped off what I could of the really thin foam piece that they had there. This stuff, it came off and scraped off. You could probably do a better job, but it's on up under there. Who cares? You know, that's not thick enough to make a difference. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt it on. I already drained the oil, and I'm not going to go ahead and do the shaft seal today. I just don't feel like it. I'm in the garage. My nose is running. It is slightly cold. I just don't like this time of the year working in the garage. So I'm going to go ahead and bolt this back up, fill it with oil, and call it good for tomorrow's ride. I'm all done. Here's the bike finished. Skid plates back on, nice and tight. With the rubber, it gives. So you just go back and forth with the P-Tech bolts until you think they're pretty tight. I use red Loctite myself. Over time, they still vibrate loose. So you'll still want to check them from time to time. Highway dirt bikes, awesome setup. Got that bolt done, as I said. Got the Voyager Pro removed. I'm sorry, Trail Tech. You guys need to, like I said from day one in one of my old videos, even though you gave me various units in the past and what have you, units to auction off to raise money for trails, I gotta say, instead of the silly mount with the pins, why don't we do a waterproof hard connector? I'd rather have that. Why? Because then the pins will never fail. I don't know why we're using the pin system. I know Garmin used it for a long time on my Zumo. Those things always failed. Also on that, at least on that, I could take it apart and replace individual pins. Yes, can't do that on the Voyager Pro mount because it's all, you know, it's in there. It's in there good. You're not taking it apart. That's all that potted stuff, so it's somewhat waterproof. Here's my dash. The seat. Oh, I still need to trim my stickers. I guess I'll do that real quick, but I'll get to the shaft seal leak. It's been like that since day one I've ridden the bike, so I'm not too worried about it. I checked my tubeless high pressure. The back was a little low, so that's topped off now. I'm going to try running 0 PSI tomorrow on Independence Trail. Everything else is good. Obviously, I do need to kind of go through the bike and do a lot of refresher stuff. That's more in depth, and that's going to be a whole project in itself. So we'll see. I am running the Tusk Recon tire. I paid for it. I don't know. It seems to work. I'm going to try 0 PSI. We'll see how it works then. I've been using up the CST tires that we got on the GPX bikes because I did those as DOT to make them legal for the road, and I really like them. They're good. I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to try to buy one in the US, but it's a pretty damn good tire. It's probably a Kinder or something, really. Who knows? CST is probably out of one of those factories in China, so who knows? Like I said, the P-Tech stuff's working out good, and I think that's basically it. I do love the bike. This is a 2021 300RR Racing, and I love it. I should probably do the forks. They are pretty stiff. I've got grown to be used to them, but they could be softened up. The suspension could be done. I've actually never done suspension on any of my bikes, so that's a big investment. I just have never done that. So we will see if I end up doing that at all, ever, or just ride the bike, get my use out of it, sell it for a couple grand, and buy another bike. I mean, that's probably what I'll honestly do because I don't know. I mean, even though I get a lot of parts from various manufacturers or discounts, at the same time, I do buy a lot of parts, and God, just tossing like more money into a bike, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I should really go through this bike, and that's probably going to cost me $1,000 to just go through it. And, you know, that's $1,000. I'd rather use $1,000 towards another bike. So, you know, some people get real picky. Some people like to do top ends every so many hours. I'm a trail rider. I'm not a racer, so I'm usually not on the pipe. It seems to be running good. But, yeah, that's something I probably will do at least once on this bike and probably coming up. But I do love this motorcycle. It works great. It chugs along. It eats up the trails. I really do like this bike. I would highly recommend a Beta. And for my next bike, it's either going to be a Beta or a TM or both. That's the great thing about starting a business where you're doing bikes. I might buy a TM to run out and to ride, or maybe a couple of them. I don't know. So, anyways, follow along for more updates on this bike as the years go on. I really am loving it. It's up there with my previous 2012 Gas EC300. You all take care, stay well, stay safe, my friends. Have a good one. Bye.